It has been a while, hasn't it? I know, sometimes life gets in the way. Honestly, we don't even know we'll be back. But hey, we are finally back and to record another episode of the Kopi podcast. So yeah, we are officially back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode of the Kopi podcast. And I know it's been a long time since we've ever done one of this. And the last time we checked, I think our last episode was about 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
It was 2 years. 2 years ago.
Yeah, so I had a struggle
gosh.
of trying to set up this entire thing because
Struggled quite a bit.
because it's been a long time and it feels so unnatural to do this, but I'm so glad that we're finally doing this and bringing back the
Yay.
podcast as promised. Because I know at the start of the season, I mentioned that we're going to be doing 10 episodes of this season, and yeah, we stopped at 3 and then we're like,
Whoops.
we went on the hiatus.
Well, life. Life.
Yeah, life happened between the both of us.
Yeah.
Which we can talk more about that later on.
Mhm.
But the 2 years though, it has been a long while, and we are intending to come back real proper and to finish up this entire season with
Hopefully.
7 more episodes. We have kind of planned things a little bit off behind the scenes, and hopefully we're going to be a bit more disciplined in coming up with the next 7 more episodes. And let's just say that, right, when we were just discussing this before we started out, our last episode was about procrastination.
Yes, I was about to say that. The last episode we did was how to beat procrastination. So we'll see how we do in this season and like how we plan out when to do the podcast exactly.
If you think about it, I finally beat procrastination
In a
after
way.
2 years.
In
And
a
then
way.
I decided to come back and shoot this entire
Yeah.
podcast.
At least you tried to finish what you started.
Yes, that's the whole. It's a marathon, honestly. You can't just do like a sprint and then call it as like, oh, we are finishing the entire season as fast
Yeah.
as we can. And it is quite tough to follow through that promise when you have so many things going on. And there's one whole bunch of excuses, to be very honest with you. So I only can try my best, but I'm just hoping that we can stick back to the original schedule where we try our very best to release 1 episode per month.
Which we must try. We can't say we will try our best. We must try. It's been too long. I feel like it's been too long.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting a bit like out of touch with it.
It took me about 1 hour just to figure out how to set up everything here. Even though it's back to the humble setup that I've been doing since like the
Yay.
beginning of the episode, or at least the beginning of the
With
series.
a bit of like addition, decoration.
I don't know. I don't think you can see that, but
Oh yeah. Oops. I thought you could.
nah, we can't see that.
Alright,
But
anyway.
if we are a little confused, we are not shooting all these episodes overseas anymore for the time being. The past 3 episodes, one of them was in, 2 of them is in KL, the other one is in KK. So now we are in Singapore. The world tour is over.
What do you mean the world tour is over? It's not over. It's just like for the meantime.
Yeah, in the meantime, it's over. But
Yeah.
of course, if anybody in overseas wants to bring us over to,
Yes, please do.
yeah, I would
We'd
love
love
to
to,
bring all
yeah.
this gear and we can do more episodes in overseas. But I think that'll be quite cool, though. Honestly,
We need a big different background.
yeah, it's different background. But I think we're still in the midst of discussing a few things about what if we have a third person in, and we will try to figure out things here. Because to be very honest, my house is very small. I don't think I can really fit in a third person here. So
I mean, you can, but it'd be like quite squeezy and it's not the best
no,
setup.
no. I think we'll be shoulder to shoulder or something. And
Yeah.
it will be really, really
I'm not quite sure
uncomfortable.
if I want to be that close to a guest. just feels weird.
Yes, I mean that would be a bit weird also. Before we get started, of course, it's a tradition here in the Lim Kopi podcast. We always introduce our drink of the episode. If we are looking at it through the video version of this, you will already kind of know roughly what it is. At least for mine, but
At
not
least for him, yeah, not
for
mine.
Debbie.
Mine is with. You have to like point it to the camera, kind.
Yeah, she has to point the camera. But anyway, let me just introduce today's drink of the episode. I'm having soya milk or soya bean or whichever you want to use it interchangeably. Bought it from the nearby market that I stay. I love drinking this. I think I probably bought this in the previous episode or something. I have to check back.
Not in the
footage.
previous one. Probably like previous. I don't know.
Yeah. I have to check it through. How about yourself?
Anyway, I've got Kopi O actually. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, it's black coffee.
Yes, Kopi O for our international viewers. It's more towards the black coffee. So
Yeah,
it's just
black
black
coffee.
roasted coffee.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, so she likes her coffee without any sugar and milk.
Milk. I don't
So-
like milk in my coffee.
I
Sugar is
like
fine.
it though.
Sugar is fine. I like black coffee.
I cannot stand coffee without
Maybe I'm just an old person at heart.
uh
You know, old person people. Oh, I mean, old people usually like black coffee.
really?
I don't know.
I know some of my
think
friends
so.
they enjoy Kopi O as well. Not necessarily they're
Okay,
old.
fine. So maybe it's just like a less common thing. But yes, I like my coffee black.
I cannot. It's too black for my taste, and
Um,
my life is already so black. So why bother making it more
What?
black?
What do you mean?
No, lah, isn't like life is already so
life's
bitter.
so dark. Your life is
No.
that dark.
no, it's so bitter in my life already. Why bother
It's not
making?
even bitter. It's like mellow kind of bitter.
Okay, maybe
Still
a
fine.
good Kopi O shouldn't taste that bitter, in my opinion.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna just toast to it, and let's start off.
Cheers.
Cheers.
One hot and one cold.
I like my sweet soy milk, honestly.
Nice.
Anyway, let's get this party started. Let's put it in session and try to figure out why we took 2 years to come back from our hiatus. First of all, I'm very sorry. If there's anybody
What?
even like waiting for us to come back with an episode here and there, because I know that there are people asking me like,
Really?
I thought you're doing this podcast with Debbie. And I'm like, no, we didn't fall out or anything. Nothing has happened between the both of us. Just that one of the biggest reasons why it was very tricky to do a podcast together is because she was staying in Malaysia.
Yep.
And
I
I'm
was.
staying in Singapore.
Uh-huh.
Logistically speaking, it is really tricky to bring all this equipment over to Malaysia, or she's coming over to Singapore.
I mean,
to
you
do-
tried.
I tried.
Yeah, but
So-
it's a hassle.
When I actually brought all this camera equipment over to Malaysia, mind you, it's not West Malaysia, it's East Malaysia. So I
Literally have to,
yeah, I have to bring like all the luggage and everything. So as you know that if you don't add on any extra check-in luggage, it's 20 kg. So all this equipment, like my laptop, my microphones, my tripods, everything, all this will eat up to a good percentage of the luggage space itself already.
I mean, if you don't buy extra luggage, that would be like basically your hand luggage space done.
Yeah.
It's almost there.
It's almost there. So
Yeah.
that is actually one of the reasons why whenever I visit her to just hang out in KK or wherever the case is, I just don't bring too much anymore already.
It just doesn't feel reasonable to bring it because you're just gonna do it like one in that whole trip.
Yes, and I think partly because even if we brought all this equipment, there is very little time to do all of this as well.
Yeah.
So like we met up a couple of times ever
We did.
since the one that we were doing it at the hotel room at Magellan Suites. Please sponsor us. We were doing it there.
Yeah.
We met up a couple of times here and there, so we could have done a few more episodes in between, but
Just limited time, really.
Limited time.
Limited time and like logistics, not reasonable in a way.
yeah. then also for myself, this is my own personal excuse now. Life happened. I think I was settling into a few career seasons. Right now, I'm still settling down in a new career season. And also just busy with church things, and I'm just being busy with my own personal stuff. And at one point, I was more busier with Twitch as well.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, so even up to this day, I'm still doing Twitch, but I'm still doing whatever that I'm doing. For example, like my own personal content as well, just lazing around, procrastinating. I think there's a bunch of reasons why.
I mean, life.
Yeah.
I think life is just busy in a sense. Yeah, for you, I guess.
Yeah. How about yourself? What have you been
For
up to for the
me-
past 2 years?
Yeah, what have I been up to? I mean, still the same old, I guess. And last year was a bit of like, considering of like transitions and everything. And like trying to tie up loose ends, like in terms of like my commitments and everything. So I guess that kind of took me some time as well. And yeah, I think life just happened.
Sometimes it doesn't need to have a proper reason of why we disappeared. Sometimes
I mean, we still hang out. Like, we still hang out quite a lot, but it's just like planning and like actually sitting down to like doing a podcast. And especially like if virtually, it's a bit.
Oh yeah.
We did consider doing it virtually, like through, I don't know, Discord or something.
Yes. So that was one of the
That was one
solutions
of the
that we had.
plans. But then because on my end, I don't really have the equipment to do
Yes.
a proper podcast. So like mics and like audio and like camera and my computer is already a problem. Not problem, it's just like it's not able to support what I need to do. So
Yeah, correct.
that kind of like buys into like why we haven't been doing it as well.
You did mention that your laptop is a potato. Do you want to share more about that?
Yes, my dear old laptop has been with me for 10 years now. I bought it like when I started my studies overseas. So yeah, 2015 up until now. It's still good, but it's not as good as what you compare it to like the laptops nowadays. Yeah, like the specs and everything, and it lags a lot.
Yeah. Can I just say that in the tech world, just 2 years is enough to make the laptop feel old already.
Yeah.
So to survive for 10 years,
Yeah, how do I say it? Like the change is quite fast. and
yes,
I'm not the kind of person to like catch up with all of these things.
you don't need to, honestly.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
what I'm trying to say is that 10 years to a laptop, it's a dinosaur amount of years already.
Kudos to my laptop, still surviving.
Yeah, so I don't know how your laptop still survived up to this day, because
Somehow it still does.
so for example, right, looking at this podcast, if you have watched through from the very first episode all the way now, you are seeing that I really got a new laptop. That's how much my laptop has aged over the years. This laptop, I bought it back during the hiatus itself. So it was like during 2022, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's around there. But that laptop, the Asus ZenBook, that lasted me about 3 years. No, so not 3 years. 2017. So I think it's about
5
years.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
5 years
5
of laptop years is a
Laptop
lot though.
years.
Yeah. So I'm actually quite surprised that it
Old
survived
uncle.
to quite a while. It was actually kind of breaking down in the end. I was
What?
contemplating to get a new one also.
Well, now you got one.
I got one.
Yay! New start, new laptop.
Yes.
Yeah.
New era in that sense.
Yes, new equipments.
Yeah, but I think also partly because I had a bit of a creative burnout, not with the podcast, but I think it's also professionally wise. I was dealing with the same old things, and I don't really find too much joy with professional work sometimes, because work is still work. That's the honest truth here. So sometimes, like when I want to do my own personal content, right, I'm like, I have to do more editing. I have to do more production work. I have to do more shooting. And it is very tiring,
Like you're doing the same thing like for work and also for your own hobby.
Correct. So all this, it makes me feel like I'm working 24/7. In that sense.
In that sense,
Yeah.
okay.
So I'm not saying that I hate my job. Potential job employers out there, don't get me wrong. It kind of hit me the hardest when I was going through one of the interviews like previously, and this interviewer is asking me, "Oh, so we know what you're doing. What are your hobbies that you enjoy out of your work?" I said that, "Oh, I
Gaming.
enjoy doing streaming. I like to do photography. I like to do filming and all that kind of stuff."
Gaming.
So then the person was asking me, "So isn't that your work?"
Oh no! I think you got like a. What am I even doing with my life?
So that actually gave me like a, not say a midlife crisis, but
Quarter
it-
life crisis.
it kind of left a great impression on me.
Yeah.
And it made me
You kinda-
realize that everything about my life is just about wanting to do content creation. While that's not necessarily the bad thing, I think that's also a good thing because I am passionate at what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But sometimes I realize that, do I have anything else that I enjoy besides this to step away and to enjoy something different? Yeah, so then I realized that yes, I do have, but not as intensively as all of this that I'm doing. That's why I took a step away from all this like creative endeavors. Yes, I still do here and there, but it's much more slowed down, mainly because of the things that is happening around my life, and also helping Debbie to settle down in Singapore. That also took quite of my mental energy as well. So with that, all this combined, those are my excuses of why we have not done like an episode of the podcast lah. So
Yeah.
it is quite mentally draining. And did we plan the break? Obviously not.
No, I think it just kind of like it didn't become a priority like
Yeah.
over the 2 years, cause like yeah, just now we said life happens and it's like we really tried to like plan, but like plans can go
Yeah.
sideways.
Plan sometimes it doesn't go in our way, and I think we took like a detour in life. Whether it's our own personal matters or our collaboration to do this podcast or not, I think this break was a well-deserved one.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
is.
Because prior to creating that last episode with Debbie at KK, I was almost putting up an episode per month. I was trying my best to keep up to that standard.
Oh
And
yeah, you were. You
Yeah.
tried to you tried to make it
yeah, there was
in a
little,
sense active in a sense.
there was a little bit of procrastination in between
Yeah.
because editing a podcast, hosting the show your own, and then also producing this in general was quite tough for one person's show. I mean, kudos to whoever who's able to do it on their own
I
solo.
don't think anyone is able to do it on their own. I mean, probably like one person in front of the camera, but like, you still have a crew at the back.
I would say that can is can, but they do their best, and I am definitely not in their own stamina. They have better stamina than me for sure. I'm
Defo.
already mentally old, and whenever like I'm doing all these things, it really does take a mental toll on me. So like after this episode, like I'm gonna just like
Lie down.
zone out
Lie down.
for a good 20 minutes before I
Lie
move on
down.
to wherever I'm doing. So
Yeah.
we didn't really plan the break. It was more of it happened naturally over the course of like,
I was about to say dissolve. It didn't dissolve. It just like desaturate.
in that sense, yeah, because we did talk about, when are we going to do the next episode? When are we coming together to meet up in each other's countries to do an episode or not? But then slowly it became of like, let's just do it when you're here, when you're in
Yeah.
Singapore officially.
It's a bit of a dread. It became a dread instead of like something we enjoyed.
So it felt like a commitment now, but
Yeah.
but now that we are properly back, it felt more like a, let's get this down and let's finish what we started
Yes, and do our
Yeah.
best. And, like,
and do
put
our
out-
best. And I think there's this newfound passion towards this
Fire,
because
fire.
there's that fire in us, or at least wanting to finish what we started. And hopefully we can end off this season on a higher note.
Yeah.
frankly speaking, like I do miss recording and just yapping away for the next 1 or 2
We've been
hours.
yapping for like 10 minutes, so.
Is it? This is 10 minutes. Oh my god, it's been 10 minutes. Yeah, I've just been talking the same thing here and there. So, I mean, the journey has been definitely been quite a bit for the 2 years just to slow down, give ourselves a little bit of time to think about what do we want to achieve in this season. Let's get to this. What do you think should be our mindset?
I would say more about like adulting and like being 20 something and life being a 20 something. And also
Technically soon in about 2-3
no,
years.
no.
For me, 2-3 more years.
Shh. Don't say. Life as a 20 something and adulting.
30 something soon.
No. Shh. No. You're not 30. I don't admit to 30. Anyway. Yeah, I would guess I want to like pivot it more to like adulting and life in general, and of course about life in Singapore, because now that I'm kind of officially here, I would say. Am I officially here? I don't know.
Technically you're officially here.
I mean, I'm here physically.
Yes. So that's why we can do this podcast now, technically, because
Yeah.
we can fulfill that one per month, hopefully.
Ding.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I think can share more about like life in Singapore and like what I enjoy so far and like interesting things about Singapore, and like I don't know if it's good to compare with Malaysia because obviously it's like a different vibe.
Part of the hiatus is also to settle her down in Singapore, because in case if you didn't know, she was in Malaysia, and it's very challenging for us to really settle down and to record an episode physically, as logistically speaking it's really difficult. It is a
Yeah.
challenge, but now
Now
that
that
she's
I
in
Now that I decided,
yeah, so now she's in Singapore and she is residing here. Of course, she needs to still feed herself, and she's been working here, she's been living here, and as of this recording, you'll be in Singapore for about 1.5 months already, right?
1.5 months.
Yeah, it's about 1.5, yeah. I'm looking at the date. Yeah, it's about that.
Nearly 2 months actually.
Nearly.
Nearly 2 months.
How do you find Singapore, and any interesting things that you want to share?
Any interesting things?
Yeah.
Well, obviously the Singapore life and Malaysia life is quite different.
Of
in terms
course.
of like the pace
Mm-hmm.
and like getting about is much different
Mm.
compared to Malaysia, because in Malaysia I usually drive myself around, and here is just I just take MRT or bus around. So that is different in a way. But I do quite enjoy public transport in Singapore, not gonna lie.
That's interesting.
I quite enjoy public transport for some reason. It's like, wow, you finally have the freedom of not needing to drive. I don't know if that's
Okay.
a thing, because sometimes you get tired of driving, and there's days where like you go home I go home tired and I really don't feel like driving, but I have to drive myself because no choice, right? And here is like you don't really have to think about that. You just have to think about, oh, where's the next train, or when's the next bus coming. Like someone will drive you home in a way.
Wow, you put it that way, right? It sounds like we're being
No, I'm not being chauffeured home. Not to my door, at least.
Hey, if you think about it, our buses are Mercedes.
In a way.
So you're riding a Mercedes bus everywhere.
Okay, if you put
So you're being chauffeured by a Mercedes bus driver. Okay.
Okay, anyway, yeah.
Anyway, that's not the point. But I think I
Yes.
get it, what you're trying to say. Instead, right, I have my different sentiments about this. Like in Malaysia,
Okay, we can compare about that.
yeah, we can
next
compare
time.
about that more in detail.
Yes.
But I would say that it's the reverse of how I felt, because every day you take the MRT, you take the bus, I'm like, especially during peak hours. It is
Yeah. I'm never the kind of peak hour person. No,
Yeah.
Never. That's the only downside of public transport. Like peak hours is just no.
correct.
Thankfully, my how to say, my work time is slightly earlier than the peak hours, so I get to avoid that. And like when I go home, it's still not too bad yet. Yeah, so maybe I haven't experienced the full force of the public transport yet, but so far I've enjoyed it, and I quite enjoy like how easy it is to like get around, and it's quite easy to get food and like amenities as well, which I find it quite enjoying.
So yeah, I always joke about this to her is that everywhere you see in Singapore is either a MRT station or mall or something else.
Oh, tell me about it. The
Yeah.
first week that I was here, I was in so many malls. I don't even know which one is which already. Tell me about it.
Yeah, but that's the whole point, because if we don't have all these malls around, do you think that it will be very convenient for the both of us, or at least for everybody else in Singapore?
Oh,
Because that's where all the amenities are at.
yeah.
If you think about it.
I mean, yeah, it's like a mall is just an MRT station away kind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
I think they try to like buy into that convenience. And yeah, of course, you don't want to like go to a MRT station and then you have to walk to like a place to get your stuff, right?
Correct. I think that's why our pace of life is much more faster. Everything that we do is all about convenience, and just
Yeah,
along the
it's
way
too
you get your
convenient.
thing, then you just go about your day. And I think
It's convenient.
it's a nice pace of change when I'm in the KK, where everything is not really convenient technically. So I mean, you have the car technically, so that is convenient because like you
Convenient
have
to drive around.
yeah, correct. So you have the car, like you can drive everywhere. You can
Yeah.
take Grab and then you can go wherever you want. But
That's right.
the problem is how much of a drive to there, how many minutes drive. So that's a
I
different
mean,
story.
yeah, that's like give or take, because if you take MRT, it's the same. You have to travel the distance, and like if you take a car, you still have to travel a distance. So
True.
more or less the same, but just in a different form, I would say.
Huh. So with that, experiencing your public transportation experiences in Singapore, how are you adjusting to Singapore work culture as well? Because I mean that is also technically why you've been quite busy and yeah.
Work is still quite fine for now, and yeah, because the workplace that I'm in right now is not a very big one, so people are chill, and the workplace is quite chill, so I'm quite like enjoying it for now. And because like it's just like the start of the year, so there's not really much going on at the moment. Well, hopefully when things will start coming in, then probably I'll get busier. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Work-wise, it's like that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm been through multiple career seasons as well. So each company or each season that I'm in has its own pros and cons, and has its own stories to tell, which I obviously can't to share too much. But I think what I can share is that there are certain points are really difficult for sure, and she knows a good extent of it. And if you're my friend listening to this, you should know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say too much here, but those are the things that keep me quite tired at times, and sometimes like because of all of this, right, I just want to stay at home and not do anything.
Which makes sense.
Yeah,
Like readjusting is not an easy thing.
yeah, correct. And I'm sure that, for example, like for yourself, you're still adjusting to your new work culture, and because from my understanding of your work previously in KK, it's a different work pace, work culture, and I mean the students that you're dealing with is
Yeah.
so much more different.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is much
demographics
different.
wise, the age range as well, it's much different.
Yeah, it is a different
So
kind
are
of
you
setting.
adjusting to that?
I think I'm adjusting quite well, and because like the role that I've been given at the moment is not that heavy yet, so I'm still not really feeling that pressure. But probably like when I get to like take on a bit more things, more responsibilities, then that will start coming in. But
Alright.
yeah, take a chill pill, enjoy, and don't give myself too much pressure. And that's what my colleagues say to me. So don't give yourself too much pressure. Just try your best.
Wow, then that's
Yeah.
something to take home.
I mean, it is a very supportive work place that
I
I'm
feel like
in.
I give myself a lot of pressure.
Do you?
Maybe. I
In
think
what
it's
way?
the constant need to improve. Not just because of this podcast. Obviously, I have to improve every single episode. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
whole point. Otherwise,
yeah.
there's no growth. It's just
Stagnant.
me being comfortable with what I am doing. That's why, like, I try my best to find ways to improve in every single episode, but not just in the podcast itself, but even my own creative growth as well, like at work, or just my own personal or professional growth, or whatever the hell I'm doing. So I'm just like doing my best to improve, and that itself it's also quite tiring.
It is quite tiring.
Because in a way, not because you want to be a perfectionist, but you are going towards improvement every single time. So you're always nitpicking on the little details that you are thinking, can I improve on this? I should be improving on this.
Well.
So I make the effort to improve on this.
Yeah.
And every time I do this, right, it is quite tiring, honestly.
Yes. I mean, it's good to have that sentiment of like, I need to be a better version of myself every time.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of inspires me to like not stay in my, not being too complacent with what I am doing right now, and like trying to find ways to like, be more creative in my work and be more creative with, I don't know, planning and everything, like improving myself. And sometimes I feel I catch myself like backsliding as well. Like I'll just stay on this level. I'm fine. As long as it doesn't harm me, I'm fine. That kind of mindset. So I think self-improvement is something that I need to like look into as well. And especially like now that I've kind of settled as well. So find ways to like be a better version of myself as well. Since like you're in a fresh place, and in a much competitive place, and I mean putting it that way. So why not try to like up my skills a little bit?
Yeah, so I always tell her that I'm very surprised at how fast she's been adapting to Singapore life, and she's doing so much better than I expected. Not saying that I expected her to trip and fall every single time, but
what do you mean?
I mean is that the
I mean I would say I am good at like adapting to new places, new environments quite quick. But that's actually one of my concern before moving, because it's been a while since I've settled in KK. It's like 3 years. So my biggest worry was like, am I still be able to like be adaptive as I was when I was studying? Because now that I've started working, right, it's like kind of like kind of roughly know what you're gonna do like every day, every week. Like it's the routine already.
True.
So like changing that up and like moving to a new place is, how do I say it? It's like putting yourself out of the nest.
Yeah, you're throwing yourself into the ocean.
That's true. So yeah, my biggest worry is actually about like, am I able to adapt? Will I be able to, be used to this kind of like fast pace, traveling all the way to work every day, and like, yeah, it's just a lot of traveling really. So am I able to do that?
But hey, you did well. You're still alive for after 1.5 months.
At least I'm not crying every day.
Why do you need to cry?
I don't know. It's just like, stress and like worries of work and being in a new place and like not having friends, all of that.
Actually, I'm surprised how many friends she actually has in Singapore. Just
you don't want to know. You don't want to know.
Okay, but with that, welcome to Singapore.
Yay,
and
thank
hope
you.
you're enjoying yourself here. And
yes, so far
cheers
so good.
to more episodes of the Lim Kopi
Yes,
podcast.
can we do a second cheers?
Yes, second more cheers. Yes.
Cheers to what? Cheers to a new life.
Yen Yu Yi, yes.
Yen Yu.
Yeah. I should be drinking also, yeah. Okay, I guess we'll go for a quick not
break.
Procrastination break, but
No.
more of a Kopi break.
Yes.
We will come back and we will talk more about why is it important, not just for us, but for people to just take hiatus or breaks. I mean, it's basically tying back to this whole topic about hiatus and breaks in general. So we'll be back in a short bit, and I'll see you guys then. Bye. Welcome back to the second part of this podcast. We
Woohoo.
took the procrastination break, or
We
you
did
can
it.
call it as the Kopi break for us.
We took a butt break.
A butt break because we were sitting on the floor and she's
I'm old.
actually the butt a bit pain after a while. So if you're confused what we are talking about, we are shooting at my place, and because of how my place is like, we don't have a proper setup here, so we are sitting on the floor. So if you saw the earlier episodes of the Lim Kopi podcast, all the guests that they have came by and they sat on the floor. So
Kudos to all their butts, man.
so
just
as
saying.
a guest co-host, you have to suffer with them technically.
Yeah, but I don't want to see my guests suffer.
Yeah, that's why we have to figure out a way in the future.
Hopefully,
how-
that's a new goal.
Yeah, that's a new mindset to have when we are restarting this entire podcast itself.
Yes.
So, speaking of which, when it comes to hiatus, I mean, that's a whole topic of this discussion today. So now we're going to focus more on the psychology behind it, or more of the mentality of taking hiatus and taking breaks, and just the reasonings and our own personal stories behind
And also a
those.
disclaimer, we are not
Yeah.
professionals. We're just like sharing our opinions and views about this. So please don't take us word by word.
You're just listening to two people just sharing their thoughts. One dumb person, one smart person. Figure out which one is which. So,
yeah. Yeah, try to figure out yourself.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. Honestly, you're just sharing our opinions, sharing our thoughts, just having a casual Lim Kopi session. That's why it's
Yes.
called Lim Kopi Podcast. Anyway, this one is legit researched. So according to the 2024 Wellness at Work report by Appointment Hero, 61% of Singaporeans, not Malaysians, employees are currently experiencing burnout.
Wait, okay. If you say Singaporean employees, it could mean that people who are working in Singapore, but they're not necessarily Singaporeans. But they are working in Singapore, so
Okay,
they are
it doesn't-
Singaporean
okay.
employees. Okay. Anyway,
To make it simply, a good portion amount of people are feeling burnout.
in
So,
Singapore.
Okay, doesn't matter where exactly.
In
but-
Singapore.
Okay, fine, in Singapore. But the whole point I'm trying to say is that, there are people who feel the burnout. So have you experienced such before?
Not currently, but have I experienced burnout? I think I have when I was like at the peak of handling a lot of commitments at once and just having things to do every week and nearly every single day, especially when like this periods like during Christmas or like festive
Oh
periods.
god.
And there's like events going on. Yeah, so that's where I mean the peak isn't like in a bunch, but it's like by waves. So
Correct.
there are like times where there's like a lot, you really have a lot of things going on at one time, and there are days it's just like, oh, still okay, I'm still fine actually. Did I experience burnout? I think in some way yes, but it's not to the point where like I just immediately give up everything. It's just like you kind of like dread what you're doing in a way. Yeah. In that
So
way.
when
It's like,
you-
well, why am I
yeah.
doing this?
So when you feel dreaded doing whatever you're doing,
Hmm.
how does it feel at that point of time, and how do you get out of that dreaded season?
I mean, as an Asian, you just kind of like just go
Suck
through
it up,
yeah,
son.
man. Suck it up. Just do what you need to do. Who cares about burnout? Who cares about your mental well-being? Kind.
Because there is a
I think
certain
that's just it's just something that I've grown up to live with.
correct. But because there's a certain stigma of we have to be productive.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one thing as well. Yeah, you always see like people achieving things in life, and you're just kind of like feeling, am I even achieving anything at all? So you just kind of have that comparison of like you want to do more as well, but like in your capacity, you're just like not be able to do that much in that way.
Well, we are only one Kok Hao, one Debbie. We only have two pairs of hands
Yeah.
each. I mean, together. I mean, we can't do beyond those confines of
That's
physical.
true. So I think that kind of like buys into like, why can other people do a lot, but why can't we? So it's like
That's a very interesting
it's a fair
way of putting it. Yeah.
it's a fair comparison of like I have the same body build as that person, so why can that person do more than I do?
You're definitely not built as same as me. I'm more fat than you, so
It's not in that way. It's like they're the same person. They have the same 24 hours. They have like limbs, hands and legs and everything. And why are they like achieving more than what I have in the same like kind of condition.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to entrepreneurs themselves.
Yeah.
They have the whole schedule packed
That's
to the
why.
brim.
It's not trying to advertise that that's
Yeah.
a good way of being productive. But yeah, I mean, there's like it's like a glam life to it, but also that it comes with a price, I would say.
The hustling culture
It's-
of it.
yeah.
So I can't say too much for myself because I tried it myself to do a bit of freelancing for about 1 year. And unfortunately, I wasn't as busy or compared to those people that I know they are very successful right now. But what I can say is that I can feel the burnout at times, especially right now. If I have certain busy periods, and I know that there is going to be a long week ahead, or I call it the super week. For example, back-to-back weeks, so that maybe like this week and the next week, I'm going to be busy all the way until the next weekend. I will call it a super week.
Yeah.
So this super week is very intense. I basically don't have much rest.
Per week. Oh yeah. Okay.
Every time I go back home, it's literally just to sleep. I'm not going to be doing much on my computer. I won't be using my phone too much. I'm just going to be sleeping. Next day, repeat, then sleep. Next day, repeat, sleep. So
At least it's not as bad as like you have to overnight at your workplace.
unfortunately, I think at certain points of my other seasons, there are cases like
Yeah,
this.
there were cases, but now not much.
Too early,
Too
too
early to
late to
say
say, but hard to say. But
Oh, let's
what?
hope not.
Let's hope not. I think there's a certain level of we try our best to put in a certain amount of respect towards a work-life balance.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
So at the end of the day, is respecting your own body as well as expecting there are certain boundaries between yourself and your personal and well-being, and as well as with your work-life balance.
Yeah.
So if you can achieve this, I think that's really the dream adulting to do. It's not easy, you know,
Yes.
surprisingly.
It's not easy, and I would say like don't push yourself too much. Like, you know your limit, so you just
Yeah.
like don't go over that limit for a couple amount of times, because you really see a lot of, I mean, I've heard a lot of cases where like people just suddenly like pass on without any apparent
Oh
reason.
God, that
Yeah,
sucks.
it's not to say that life just happens. It's just like, are you really pushing yourself that much to an extent that you are not appreciating your health?
Thankfully, I have not heard of any cases within my friends where they got so worked up and experienced a burnout. They literally crash and burn. I have not
Thankfully not.
seen that myself, but I have experienced it before when I was organizing my 21st birthday. So I literally got burned out and I literally crashed and burned. As in not really like physically, but I was zoning out.
Not on fire kind.
Yeah, but I was zoning out for the past
Was it a solid 2 hours ish?
2 hours just sitting down there like I can't feel, I can't think. I just want to like zone and not look at anything. I took a nap. I came back. I still feel. I mean, I felt better afterwards.
You went through quite a lot. Wait till you go through like a wedding.
Oh God, don't remind me
That's
about
another
that.
round of like just zoning out afterwards.
So I felt that when I was organizing my 21st birthday, right? In that sense, well, it's not really a burnout per se, but I think it was a mini taste of what is to come if I don't prioritize myself too much, and I don't give myself enough love. Because I think at the end of the day, right, you have so much priorities, you have so much commitments that you are trying to fulfill as a person, and like we have mentioned, you are just one person on your own, and you need to realize that you need help.
Yeah,
And I
definitely.
was either too egoistic to get for help, or I was just not very sure who to ask for when it
Definitely
comes to
not
help.
shy.
Yeah.
Not
I'm not
shy.
shy, but I don't know who to
Just-
ask,
yeah.
you see. So
Asking the right person is also actually important.
correct. And I was going through a very difficult period of my time during that year as well. So after when I planned all my 21st birthday stuff, when I was having the chalet itself, and then I was resting at my room, I literally just couldn't think anymore, and I just sat down there. I think my eyes were bloodshot as well.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
bloodshot. Yeah, so
Sorry, I was not there to I was not there to witness
she
it.
hasn't
So
existed in my life yet. So,
yes, okay, in your life, yeah.
in that sense, when I was there, right, yeah, I was just so exhausted in that. So I think that was the one point of my life I felt the actual burnout. Yeah, so I couldn't feel myself at all, and afterwards I felt better, but it was a way of my body telling me that you need to stop, you need to rest, and I took that seriously, and I felt better afterwards, and I wish that I hadn't had to learn through this hard way. And this is the saddest truth, like you have to go through all these low points of your life so you know better about yourself.
I guess like compared to you, I haven't really experienced that amount of burnout. It's
Yeah.
more of like just like trudging through life. It's not like I've done something so major and then just like crash. It's more
Okay.
of like you doing the day to day and like, you know, work commitment, work commitment, then just kind of like you just feel like you're doing this cycle all over and over, and you're just questioning like, why am I doing this? Yeah, it's more of like that. My burnout is kind of like that instead of like a crash and burn thing.
Yeah, true. So when you are in that busy period, right, how do you feel when you're taking breaks, be it a short or a long one?
A short one, I would say, won't
you
help
feel-
much.
Okay.
Just short, yeah. A short one. It's like it helps, but it's just like how do I put it? It's like putting ointment. Ding.
Ooh,
Just putting
okay.
ointment. But if you take like a long break, it feels like a massage.
Wow.
I think I could put it that way.
Is it a Thai massage?
No, I don't have any massage in mind, but just like a massage. So
Okay.
you kind of get the picture. Yeah, short breaks is just like, you know, it's just a temporary thing, but long breaks, it makes you like, you know, rethink and reflect.
I think I feel it the other way around. When
Really?
it comes to work-wise, when I take a short break, yes, yeah, like you said, it felt like you're taking an ointment. It's like a touch and go thing. You check yourself, give yourself a small little reward before you jump back to where you are, you go back to the trenches, and going back to the war that you were in. But if your break is too long, that's where I find it very difficult to get back to the groove.
I'm not asking you to take a long break though.
But sometimes when the
Sometimes you just kind of like drag the break a bit.
not necessarily because of my own doing, that's procrastination already.
Yeah.
But sometimes like let's just say in a company, there's literally for nothing to do. There's nothing for you to do, and it's a dry season. You're looking at your computer all day. I mean, let's face it, that's basically you taking a break. If it's a 1 or 2 days thing, it's fine.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if it's an extended amount of period of time, we don't talk about the company itself. We're talking about like just dry periods in general. You will feel useless after a while. And
That's true.
Going back to work, it feels like trying to pick up a big boulder, and you don't have that energy because you just been such a relaxed mode.
That's why I feel like being productive in breaks is also important to like keep the ball going kind
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah. You break for like 1-2 days is fine. Like one day doing nothing, just lying
Yeah.
around. It's fine. But like don't drag that out too much. Yeah, I can't even stand having too much breaks actually.
Yes, sometimes too much break makes me feel like
You're a
am.
potato.
In that sense, yes, being a potato,
Like
but
like what is it called? A green potato. No, budding potato.
yeah, rotting already.
No. Yeah, in that way.
Yes, but I think it's more of like trying to get back to the groove is so much harder, and like you have that
Tell me
inertia
about
as
it.
well.
Yeah.
You have a very strong inertia against you going back into what you were doing previously. You were like at your full capacity, and then suddenly you take a break. Yes, I mean a quick pit stop is nice, but once you take too long of a break trying to get back to it, it's like you have to start the engine, but your engine died already.
Oh
Woof.
no.
You have to change the oil. You have to make sure everything is
What
okay.
is it called? Need to charge the battery.
Yeah, charging the battery will be hard, but it's not saying it's not possible. It's just,
You need to heat up the engine, and heating up a cold engine is quite hard.
but sometimes when you're in the situation where you need to take long breaks, and then suddenly like you're expected to come back full force because like, oh, somebody has an expectation of like, oh, you've gone through a long break, so you should be feeling recharged, right? So here's 100% of your work here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. If you put it that way, yeah. I mean, it's important to like have a ease into your work before you
Yeah.
actually like go on full force.
So sometimes like I try my best not to be too comfortable with my breaks. I try my best to still keep myself productive or doing something that doesn't cause my brain to rot. So I mean that's the importance of taking breaks lah. You just find a way to like be productive, but in a sense where when you take a break, you don't feel useless.
Yes,
in
yes.
in that period.
Yeah,
So
I think that's important.
yeah lah. Otherwise you end up becoming less motivated.
废人,
Yeah.
you become like a 废人.
Useless lah in that sense.
废人.
Then you just don't feel like motivated to jump back to what you're doing, and then especially if you're in a more higher pressure environment, it is gonna be very tough to quickly ease back to your mojo lah. So
So don't take long annual leaves. No.
wow, I feel like when I do that lah, because I take
No.
long breaks instead
Do
of.
you like what duration? 1 week, 2 weeks?
So for example,
Is 1 week considered like a lot for you?
I think 1 week rate is quite adequate. I think
Okay.
it's normal for people
1 week break is
taking
fine.
that usually.
Yeah.
So, for example, the recent break that I took before coming back to work, right, was about 6 days worth of break.
Oh yeah, when you
Yeah.
Chinese
6
New
days
Year.
officially as a leave. But of course, there's still in between. For example, like, that time was during CNY. So I think there was an extra 1-2 days worth of like quietness going on.
Yeah.
And it did felt that there's nothing much to do lah. So by the time I come back to work, right, thankfully it wasn't too bad. I think there are certain things for me to do. But I was mentally struggling a little bit. Oh shit, I'm back. How do I get back to work? How do I use my
work?
fingers again to edit?
Actually, thinking about it, right? Before my transitioning to Singapore, I actually like took exactly a month's break before coming over, because school holidays in Malaysia is quite different to Singapore. So
Okay.
we only started our long holiday in mid-Jan. Is it mid-Jan? Yeah, I think mid-Jan. But I think I started my break way earlier than that. So it's almost exactly a month before I started working in Singapore. So I'm like thinking, what was I doing for that 1 month? Oh, have I been doing much? I mean, of course, it's like CNY period. It's still okay. I think still got things to do in that sense. And yeah, I really think it's like trying to find productive things to do as well in the midst of that break. Like not just lie down at home kind. Like find things to do, go out or something. So that my break is not wasted. My holiday is not wasted. I think I came back refreshed in that sense. And I don't really dread going to work as much as... I was thinking about like the kids, right? After they took like a long break. Kids, they go a long break. They come back, they just like, who am I? What am I doing here? Why am I supposed to be here? I want to go for another break, man.
Their mind is like, can I just go home?
Yeah, exactly. And then some of them just come like crying, like, I want to go home. I don't want to be here.
But you see their friends, you'll be like, oh, I like my friends.
Oh, instantly, yes. After like 2 hours, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
So it's just a easing it back thing.
That's true. That's true. That's the same mentality that I had when I come back to work every single time after like a long break. I don't want to be here, but after I get back into work, I was like, oh, okay, not too bad. I think can manage a full working day.
Yeah.
Then once you like, now
It's
then
just...
after you realize it, oh, you're working for like 1-2 months already.
That's why you just need to keep the gears going and like keep
Yeah.
the engine started. Then you'll be fine. Yeah.
Do you feel guilty taking breaks, or what have you take away from taking breaks in general?
To be honest, no. I enjoy my break, and okay, that's the thing I've mentioned to Kok Hao before going live. It's like I really appreciate coming to Singapore because I get to start all over. Like,
Okay.
because I don't know, maybe because like I've been taking a lot of commitments, and like it's just a constant of not having your own evenings. Like every evening I have something to do, and I only have like I think 1 day or 2 days of worth of evenings, two evenings to myself in that sense. So like coming here is like
Wow.
wow, I have my evenings off. What am I gonna do with my evening? What am I gonna do? It's just like in some way you feel like wow, it's good to have that kind of like tranquility. I can do my own stuff now. I can actually like do hobbies or like pick on retake my what is it called? Yes, I've been thinking about doing my music theory actually. So I did have that as my plan to like, I can start to like read into this a little bit more again. So yeah, sometimes it just feel like wow, I got really nothing to do on the evening. I just rot away.
Do you feel like when you're going through your difficult periods, or at least like the more overwhelming periods, when you were back in KK, do you feel certain signs that is coming in your way where I need to take a break?
There are times where like when especially I have this tendency like if after like a long week of doing a lot, right, the following week definitely I'll get a flu or something.
Wow.
Definitely. It's like because you were doing so much and then suddenly you slow down, right? Your body is like, whoa, what's going on? You got nothing to do already, right? Yes, can be sick now. Kind. So
True.
thankfully during breaks I don't really have that much of like illnesses. But yeah, it comes afterwards. It's like a definite thing. After I have a busy week, yeah, definitely the next week will be like either a flu or a sore throat or something. Something, at least there's something to like, actually give myself time to rest.
It's the same for myself as well, because when I was going through difficult periods in my work journeys, right, I would feel very overwhelmed. That's one. Sometimes like I feel like I'm going at 100 miles an hour and I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. So I'm just focusing and just get into the zone, right?
What do you mean you don't know what you're doing but you're still doing it?
It's like just
brain
brain
like
dead
muscle
already.
memory
Your brain is basically dead. Just doing it as a
co-pilot, not co-pilot, autopilot.
Yeah, autopilot. So just quickly do it and then just get through this as quickly as you can. And then afterwards, sometimes I will also lose the motivation to do what I like to do. So if my mind is all about work, I'm like, oh shit, come back home, just sleep.
Are you supposed to say that?
No not necessarily.
Oh.
Because it's a very creative thing.
Okay.
Because we do have our creative burnouts as well. Like we just don't want to do anything afterwards and we just want to just rest. And we do have that periods of time where we are very busy at what we are doing.
Yeah.
And after when we are, even during that period, we just don't feel like doing too much. That's where we feel the burnout, we feel the loss of motivation. So once everything's all done, yes, then you feel like, oh, everything, it feels much more like cleared up and you feel like you can breathe finally.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I felt every single time I'm going through a more tougher period, I would say. I'm not saying that I hate what I'm doing, just that sometimes it's just the truth is like this. Sometimes like the clients want you to rush certain things and at the expense of the editor's
at the expense of the editor's liver.
Yeah, correct. So they always say how is the edit but not how is the editor. So that's basically the joke here. So just don't get the wrong idea. I mean, I enjoy what I do, just that sometimes it can be very tiring at times.
Yeah.
And you often neglect yourself.
Yes, you just want to feel more appreciated.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes like I always tell people like, hey, that's my video that's here.
Wow,
Yeah.
should I just do this every time? Like, wow, you.
Yeah, but I think it also helps a lot to appreciate the people that they're doing certain things that you might not see what's going on half the time. Like a teacher's job, like you don't see it. Like what the hard things that they are doing also.
Yeah, it's like it's putting in your perspective. It's like how the parents always ask how's the child, but they never ask about how's the teacher.
Yeah, correct. So they never
Teacher,
ask how's the
sorry,
teacher
teacher.
also.
Teacher.
So I may not know like exactly how she's feeling every single time she's doing her work.
I'm crying inside, but I don't say.
Okay lah. She's doing well. Okay, her employers.
I'm fine. I'm really
Kenchana.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
fine.
okay. She's okay. But with that being said, how do you take meaningful breaks afterwards? So, for example, like for myself, one of the biggest ways for me to take a break is to take a sleep. But besides that, I think also to get back to what you enjoy doing. So I take breaks by watching shows. Yeah, I enjoy
Okay.
that a lot. Or just playing my phone or doom scrolling through social media.
Doom
Just
scrolling.
hey, you see, I take breaks from my computer doing work by watching my phone.
What's the point, man? What's the point? You're just looking at screens.
Yes, looking at a secondary screen that is all about your work. If you put it that
Okay,
way,
if you put it that way.
if you put it that way, that is
you're just
basically
moving from a bigger screen to a smaller screen.
yeah. In that sense, but it's a way to kind of refresh your mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes
but-
like when I'm doing video editing, right, a very good way for me to like take a small break is to watch something that is not related to my
like
editing.
cat memes.
Something like that. Okay. So for example, like when I'm doing video editing, I will scroll through my YouTube recommendations. Then I will see something very fascinating. Then I'll watch that for a little bit just to clear my mind on what I'm actually working on.
Yeah.
So when I go back to my editing, right, I feel more refreshed. I feel more like, I have new ideas of how I want to edit. So that is another way of how I get back to the groove itself after taking a small break. And how do I force myself to take a more meaningful break itself?
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably for you because like your nature of your work, it requires a lot of like
A lot of repetitiveness.
inspiration from other creators in a way. So yeah, you're just not constantly looking at stuff, but it's most of the time you spend time like looking at people's content creations to like get inspirations. But for me, I think my kind of break is like really to get away from screens. Ideally.
Yeah. She rather
And
work
so-
in a farm, that kind of break.
No, I just want to touch grass. Actually,
Yeah, correct. Touch grass.
not farming. No, I just want to touch grass.
Actually, speaking about touching grass, right, one of my favorite ways to take a break is to just go out.
Yeah.
Just walk around in the office
Oh, okay.
or also like
Sure.
going out, touch grass, feel
touch
the
grass.
sun if it's not raining.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Actually, that's my kind of break. I really like going for a nature walk just to like ease the mind and
or
like,
sweat a little bit, then you come back in the office. I mean, it may not be pleasant.
Sweat a little bit and come back.
No, as in like feel the sun, feel the heat.
Oh yeah.
Because my office can be quite on the colder side. I mean, most office in general is like that. So
True.
when I come back, after like going for a meal or I go buy drink or something, I come back, I feel more refreshed because you have not been seeing greenery or just seeing people walking around or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Or seeing things going on outside your office. Then you come back, you feel more rejuvenated by that sense, or people call it the vitamin D. So
Yes.
yeah, getting those really does help a lot. It just gets like a simple refresh in your mind.
And I'm quite appreciate that my new workplace is quite close to nature in a way that it's not too far from a park. So I mean, I haven't tried like going there for a break yet, but I think that's like a good getaway if I really want to like get back to nature and like just take a break from the environment itself. Yeah, that's a good.
That's definitely a good tip. So
Yes.
we've been talking about breaks, but let's drive back into hiatus.
Hmm.
So now, how do you take a good, meaningful hiatus break?
How do I take a meaningful hiatus break? I don't know.
I don't
I don't know
know.
how to put this.
Yeah.
It's okay if you say about like podcasting. Are you talking about like podcasting break?
Not necessarily.
Hiatus?
Okay, so maybe I can share about my own personal story about there was one time I took a hiatus, not because I want to, but because the world demanded for it because of the whole COVID pandemic. There was a period back in 2020 when I was just coming out from a full-time job, and I wanted to just kind of take a small little break. I was feeling a bit burnt out by whatever's happening back then. And just nice, the world came with the pandemic, which COVID-19 lah.
Yeah, the world decided to take a break with you.
Yes, correct. So the world took a break as well. So I went to do some other things that I didn't expect myself to do. So I went to do a bit of factory as a factory worker.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I can't say too much what it is, but basically I was just working in a big company, and then I was in a factory because technically it's still an essential job because of what they're doing. So you just go there, help out, and then you earn like a little bit of a salary. I mean, back then, pandemic, during the height of it. So whatever amount of money you can earn during that period,
You should be appreciative of it.
You should be appreciative. You should thank God, all the gods,
Yeah.
So yeah. So I don't really mind the low pay, but it's just more of like
At least you got something to do.
something to do, and as well as it was a fresh pace of everything that I've been doing. So I was telling my colleagues back then, they're all like old aunties and uncles, because like they hire all the like these people plus like the Malaysian aunties and uncles doing all this factory job.
right.
Then you ask me like, oh, what do you do here? What makes you here anyway? And then I
Just here to
shared.
pass time.
Yeah. So I shared with them like what I was doing back there, and then I just wanted to take a break, and I was also going through a difficult period of my life as well. And then they understood lah, and then they just like just talk to me as a normal person, no. So I think it was a fresh change of pace. Then I was doing this thing called the safety ambassador, like safety distancing ambassador.
Yeah.
So like if just for some context, in Singapore, we were introducing this thing called social distancing.
Yeah.
So they will go around making sure that people
Everyone is 1 meter apart.
yeah, not taking the ruler. I'm seeing cases like that, but as in just making sure that people are safe distanced from each other. So
Yeah.
I was doing something like that. I was happy to check in people here and there, and this kind of two jobs I was doing, right, was very monotonous.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It
Very-
sounds monotonous.
It's very boring, obviously. It was an honest living as well. So
Yeah, it
you
is.
earn this money just to get by, and also you just take a break from whatever I'm doing, which is a proper hiatus to my career. So after things started to ease back to normal, and I went back to the industry, I had a little bit of a trouble trying to find like a proper job. Mainly because of the employers that was looking out for like a potential video editor or whatever the case is, they did have concerns because I was doing 1 year of like all these odd jobs, and I had to explain to them that my last employment was 1 year ago. I was doing this blah 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 blah, and they were like wondering, so what do you do for the past 1 year? I told them, oh, I was doing this, I was doing that, but
Confused.
in the meantime, I was doing my podcast. In the meantime, I was going out and shoot things. So in that way, I took a professional hiatus to do my creative endeavors.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad. It was meaningful in a way where I got to do the things that I love.
Yeah, it's like taking a gap year kind of
Yeah.
thing.
So like what all these like little things people have done during their university days is that they took a gap year. So I took a gap year in my professional career, and I'm glad that I took it. I
Yeah.
took it again afterwards, but that's more for a different story. It's more towards a freelancing journey.
That's different.
Yeah, that's different. But I'm glad that I took it and really found passion in towards creating content in general, because not that I hate doing client work, but I think there is certain joy about producing your own stuff and see it online and people enjoy what you're doing. And that makes me feel very happy. I think the amount of satisfaction that I get from all of this is so much more satisfying. And I still do get the satisfaction also from doing all the client work as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's not. I didn't take like a gap year thing. It's more of just taking breaks here and there. And because of like my work nature, I get to like have breaks with amongst the school holidays. So yeah, it's just like a refresh thing.
So like the school forces you to take hiatus because it's a school holiday in a sense.
In a sense, yeah. In a sense, yeah. It's more of like that. And I don't know, what do I use the break for? I think I just use the break to like
Social media.
No, I mean, yes, there are days that like you just want to do social media. There are days you just want to do hobbies. And there are just days you want to like go out.
Correct.
So it's like, yeah, using the break for different things, I guess. And doing things that I like. And anything else? No.
True. Okay, but then right, coming back to my story, there are also things that I would also try to avoid, be it whether that professional hiatus that I was going through, or whether be it any other things that I was going through, like even small breaks or long breaks I take. I try not to fall to this pitfall of coming back stronger. Yeah, so as I mentioned now, you try your best to improve as you go along, develop yourself into a better person, but at the same time, not giving the excuse that yeah, we are all human, we make mistakes, and then like we should take a chill pill, but we should take it slow lah.
Yeah.
And don't give yourself too much pressure.
I guess that's important. Like, don't put yourself in that much pressure where like you just started and then you suddenly feel like you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Because like if you say like come back stronger, means like you have a certain kind of expectation that you need to meet at the start of after a long break, which is not easy, and you just kind of feel overwhelmed.
And that's a valid point. At the end of the day, it's just easing yourself back into the routine that you're doing, making sure that you don't feel pressured to perform at your best. I mean, I'm sure
At all times.
yeah, at all times, because there are different seasons. It's just how you get to the end of the point of where you're
But that's
going.
not an excuse to like not do
Yeah,
the best you can.
because I've learned this about progress. Progress is never linear. It's
Yeah.
always going up or down, up or down, up or down. As long
Yeah.
as it's still going up at the end of the day, that is still progress to everybody.
So yeah, I think people kind of have that expectation of the progress as like like a linear line going up. But actually, people nowadays, they think progress as like a up and down thing. It's like sometimes there are
It's
good days,
fluctuating,
sometimes there are
yeah.
bad days, and yeah, so it doesn't have to be linear progress. But I think also we shouldn't be excusing ourselves, say like good days or bad days, because good days or bad days, you always smile through every day, right?
Wow, that's so powerful.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, how do you know when is the right time to come back?
Ooh, is there really a right time?
Especially
I think
like
it's just
even-
like feeling.
Wow, just use the feeling. Yeah, the feeling.
Yes.
Yeah, just like Asian cooking, use feeling only. Yeah. I mean, that's not wrong.
I just feel like you're never ready, because there's always excuse to say that, oh, I've got this and this and that, and like I've not feel rested enough. You never feel rested enough. So I think you just have to like jump into it. Give yourself time to adjust to it.
And also to adjust your expectations, because
Yeah.
right, what was done previously versus what you are doing right now. For example, like in this case, our podcast, what I was doing back then versus what I'm doing right now, the expectations is going to be different,
Yeah.
because our mindset has changed, and the landscape of what we are doing is going to be different already.
Mm-hmm.
And having Debbie herself, like in this podcast, is a different
Well,
different goal itself already,
yeah.
as compared to what I was doing in the beginning. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as long as you come back in a positive mindset, but at the same time you don't jump into that full force. You ease yourself slowly into it, and then make sure that you get the groove first before you turn up a notch. So
Definitely.
I guess that's the right way to restart. There's no right time or when to start. I mean, there's
Yeah.
only just try and
Yeah.
see where it goes.
Exactly.
And if it's not the right time, you stop lah. But if it's the right time, then good lah, you continue lah.
Yeah, because I think if you keep giving yourself excuse say that you're not ready, you'll never be ready. So you can't keep giving yourself excuses. That would be procrastination in a way.
That is where the previous episode of Procrastination makes more sense.
Please listen back to our episode. I mean, I need to listen back to our own episode. What did I even say? I'm probably just blabbering.
Yeah, but again, like I said, we are just blabbering, and we're not professionals here. We're just sharing our own opinions and thoughts here and there. But I hope you enjoy hearing us.
Yes, thank you for hearing our blabbering after like 2 years.
But it does feel like we are truly back.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, I quite like it.
Yeah, it takes us a little bit to ease.
Feels good to be back.
Feels good to be back.
Woo.
But we still need some time to ease back into the whole groove of the Kopi podcast.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
we do have some exciting things that we are planning. So hopefully we can start to roll out those plans and get more people involved for the podcast. We have a couple of guests that we have lined up already for this season, and hopefully to wrap up this season.
What are you thinking?
Bang, I guess.
Bang?
No. As in, hang with a bang, hang with a bang. Yeah. No. As in, who am I thinking exactly? We'll just keep that as a secret first. But internally between the both of us, we kind of know roughly who to invite already lah. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining in for our revival episode of the Kopi podcast.
This is episode
22.
Season episode 22.
Should be 22. If I'm wrong, then
oops.
I'm
We'll
wrong.
put the edit. We just put the edit.
But anyway, if you want to check back with us on the previous episodes of the Kopi podcast, feel free to listen to us on our YouTube channel. If you are listening from Spotify, feel free to check us out on YouTube. If you're listening on YouTube, feel free to check us out on our Spotify. We do have our Instagram channel, which we should be trying to revive.
As well.
I need to revive everything back, so I need to stop putting everything on hiatus and then revive everything back.
Woo!
So try my best to do my end, and hopefully we can set this back for the Kopi podcast. Yes, correct. So if you want to follow the both of us, you can check out our socials on the screen right now if
Probably
you're watching.
his socials.
My socials or her socials.
Mine is private. So.
Hers is private, so you still need to go through as a friend request. But you can follow both of us if you like to. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yeah. See you guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
See you guys
very
and
soon.
bye.
Bye.